Who should Jake Paul fight next? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to Me Edson. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So, who should Jake Paul fight next? Who should he fight? He's got the win from Andre August. He's put that to bed. He's beaten the pro boxer this time. Failed against Tommy Fury, but he beat another pro boxer, possibly a better boxer. Who should he fight next? Should he go into this kind of MMA world, or should he just purely stick to boxing? Now, I know he's got the link up with the PFL, and I know he's got his own MVP company. I know he puts on his own fight cards as well. So I got all that. I get all that. But who should he fight next? And in what form? Should it be MMA or should it be boxing? Well, there's only one style of fighting that Jake Paul should do. If he wants to be a world champion, which he keeps on saying that he wants to be, he should never, ever entertain MMA. You focus on the one discipline. That's it. Now, as I say, I know there is a tie-up with the PFL. He's kind of made a rod for his own back here, in that he may feel that he needs to fulfill some contractual obligation with them. But the fact of the matter is, if he goes and does an MMA fight with if he can entice Nate Diaz, let's say, to get into the octagon with him, under PFL. If he does that, then he's basically ruining his boxing career, because he's not focusing on what he should be focused on. It's a distraction too far. So for me, the only fighting style that he should ever be doing is boxing, if he wants to take it seriously. If he does an MMA fight, for me, he's not even taking boxing seriously. So therefore, forget it. Forget him and his aspirations of being a professional boxer, a world champion. You just can't do it. You just can't be taken seriously if you're going to go from one fighting discipline to another, if you want to be any kind of level champion. Now, if you just want to go from one style to another style just to get the biggest purse, fine. I've got no problem with that. If you want to have the biggest payday, got no problem with that. If you want to be a prize fighter and that's it, you're fighting for prizes, got no problem with that. But if you're going to be a title fighter, if you're going to be a title boxer, then you have to focus on that fighting discipline. And for me, if he wants to be a world champion like he claims he does, then he has to concentrate on boxing and not MMA. So therefore, who's the next boxer that he should fight? So if we're going back to him building his boxing record and incrementally building up, then not only does he have to build on that record with a boxer who has a decent record, but he has to continue attracting decent names. So therefore, he has to aim a lot higher, probably higher than his talent will allow or his skill set will allow at this stage. He's Jake Paul. He's a huge name. He's a huge name in influencer boxing, but he's also a huge name in the influencer world, full stop. So if he goes for another Andre August, for example, then the momentum will be lost. He has to go for another big name in boxing, but he also has to go for another name in the influencer world. And there's only one fighter right now who fulfills that category, and that's Tommy Fury. Now, before we all start shooting the messenger, I don't want to see that fight either. But for Jake Paul, he's going to want to right that wrong, just like KSI wants to right that wrong as well with Tommy Fury. That's the scalp that can rectify his record a little bit. That's the scalp thing. He said, you know what, I need to get that sorted out. I need to get that loss wiped off my record because I've actually now gone and beat him. And because he's a professional boxer, and because he can go that next step as well. If he doesn't get a name like Tommy Fury, who was kind of at the same level, or possibly even a little bit lower now, because Jake Paul would have improved, right? Then he has to go for a name that is, let's say, 2 or 3 rungs higher on the ladder. Now, whoever that name might be. But what I'm saying is it can't be another Andre August. It has to be a name in the boxing division that he's in, and it has to be quite a few steps ahead to bring eyes onto the bout, because otherwise there's no point in watching it. Otherwise, there's no point in seeing somebody with a huge name getting somebody with a lesser name, because it's still going to be regarded as a bit of a gimmick fight. Regardless of whether it is an actual proper challenge, whether it's going to be competitive or not, the eyes of the world will look at it and say this is a bit of a gimmick fight. So either he goes for the big money. The eyes on the bout from the boxing world and also from the influence of boxing fans on the Tommy Fury fight to right that wrong, and then he continues on the path. Or he goes for purely pro boxing and he goes for a well-proven fighter who's actually at national level or at a contender level, let's say, for a world title. Certainly somebody who's within the top 10. He needs to be fighting at that level. Now, whether he'll get that opportunity or not, who knows? But what we do know now is that boxing is changing a little bit. And it's not only about your boxing record, it's about who can bring eyes into the sport. And Jake Paul definitely does that. And because he wants to be legitimate, he's going to be able to attract somebody who's better than him. Now, this is a risky play, of course, by Jake Paul, because all of a sudden he could get schooled quite severely, and that's it, it's game over for him. But the problem is he's kind of maneuvered himself into a dead-end road here. He's got nowhere else to go. He either goes through a professional boxer who's kind of at the influencer level, let's say Tommy Fury, so we can just incrementally go up to the next step, or he has to do away with all of that and he has to go for the next bout, because otherwise the name dies. The boxing name dies. He has to keep the eyes of the world on him in a pro boxing sense. So for me, a smart play would get a win on his boxing record against a known opponent that he's already lost to, and that would be Tommy Fury. Now, you might be thinking, why aren't I mentioning KSI? For all the reasons that I've said, KSI does not represent a competitive challenge for Jake Paul. Now, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a decent fight. I'm not saying it would be something that would draw in the eyes of the world. I think it would, actually. Just like a previous video when I talked about Logan Paul and Andrew Tate. I think the eyes of the world would be on that fight, no doubt. But it does nothing to legitimize Jake Paul on his journey to becoming a world champion. Nobody in the boxing world takes KSI seriously as a professional boxer. Therefore, there's no point in fighting him. And Jake Paul already knows this. In fact, he's already said this. So there's no point in even entertaining that fight. It will be completely the wrong fight to take. So who does he fight next? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Should it be quite a decent name in the boxing world in his division, or should it be Tommy Fury? Or do you think, hey, no, he needs to forget about the pro boxing route and just stick to influencer boxing, be the biggest name in influencer boxing, and just go for those purses, those big purses, be the best prize fighter in the world, let's say, the one that can generate the biggest amount of money, and just do that. And his next fight should be against KSI. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I'll catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now.